How are y'all?
How's everybody? How are you, Felicia?
I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there.
Hanging in there?
Yes. We got all these changes coming up.
Yep. By like a
Changes.
by like a fingernail or like by
Yeah.
makes
I
oh,
I'm like trying to get it.
makes me think of those movies where or even Lion King, he was like, and then Scar was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Scott didn't care. He did not.
oh, Scar did
He
that.
did,
He's
he
clawed him.
did not. He did not care.
Uh-huh.
So
All right. Tina's doing good. Eva says hello. Happy to see you guys. We are just we're chilling on this Monday. We're just chatting about fasting again because hey, it's that time again. It's like everybody we know about fasting and then we just kind of get off track and sometimes we need a little boost and sometimes we need to get back on track. And I didn't realize how far off track I was until until I really took a look. But what the topic is sustainability, and I thought about that too because, like, a lot of diets are like yo-yo, and people do it for a while and then they can't keep doing it. And fasting isn't like that. It's not like you have to try really hard and buy all the special food. It's more so you just get lazy and get back to old habits. It's
mm,
not like, you know what I mean? It's not like a diet that's not sustainable.
yep. I
Yeah.
agree. I think that we just, it's easy to just not manage it.
Hmm.
Excuse me, and anything we don't manage, it gets out of hand. It's kind of, it's like bathing. We bathe every day, and if we just didn't for weeks at a time, that's not good. And I know people that have been in that situation. It's not good.
No.
So we have to do our best to keep it on track. And bathing and all that is easier for me. That I'm gonna do. But when it
Oh, and
comes
you
to,
like it too. You're like, oh, I got my scrub. I got
yeah, all about it, all about it.
my
So
stuff. Hey, Debbie.
with eating, ooh, hey everybody,
Hey,
Miss
Debbie,
Tina
did
is
you get
here.
in? I don't know if Debbie got into the challenge group. That's right. We never. I don't know if you ever got in there. Yeah. So those of you that are in my level up group, we started a fasting challenge today, and we're calling it 2.0 because um, we did this the beginning of January, and we definitely had a great time. And we did 5 days of just education, everybody getting into a fasting circle and working together. And but we didn't go in as hard, as kind of deep as we are this time. So I thought it was a good time to get back into it. You were talking about springtime. Everybody's trying to get spring clean their body, get ready for the warmer weather. Oh,
This
Shelly,
next level. This is next level.
hi from Australia. How are you? What time is it in Australia right now? In the Gold Coast. Do you have a bunch of mice where you? So there's like a mice epidemic in Australia right now. And with mice, I was thinking like, why don't they? They're just exterminating all these mice, and I'm like, why don't they use those mice for all the research?
Oh,
They're
yeah. Let's coordinate this. You got to coordinate. If
but what? How do you say it? Wairua? Wairua? Are there a bunch of mice where you're at? I need to know.
Glad we're going deeper this time. I even did my cold shower this morning. Um,
Oh, Shelly. Shelly said all day to see
pretty
us
excited.
too. But I hope we didn't disappoint. Look,
What?
I hope we didn't disappoint you, Shelly. She said she's been waiting all day
Oh,
to see us. I'm like, oh, I could have gotten.
oh man, it's been a day for me. So sorry.
Okay.
This is what you
So,
get.
yeah. Okay, no mice, just in That's in Melbourne. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. You think of Australia, it's a huge continent. And I'm all, are there mice? I saw an article about mice. Do you have mice? But
Yeah. He's like, yeah. Well, at least it was Melbourne. It wasn't some little Timbuktu. It's in Timbuktu. Um,
Hey, from Aruba, we got some international people today. Yeah, so I'm glad you're glad that we're going deeper, Nadine, because like today, people, were you in there today, Felicia? You weren't in there today because they're asking about ketones already. I'm like, well, Felicia, she knows about checking ketones. Gonna have to ask her.
I wasn't in there today. I was kind of late to the party. You're all off track over there. Now it looks like you caught up. I was all confused. You were for a little bit. So I think it's fine now. But it was confusing because I'm like, did my phone come on? I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, no, the phone is still silent. That was just you weren't matched up for a little bit.
Oh.
I haven't been in there. So they were asking about ketones. I should have got in there before. Today has been a crazy day.
No, it's my challenge. It's not your job to be in there, but
I wanted to be in there to be encouraged and all that. I like that.
Because we are going deeper, we were talking about ketosis and metabolic flexibility, and they were like, well, how do you know if you're in ketosis? And I was like, well, you really don't know for sure unless you check.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, you don't know how you feel, but
yeah, and that's fine. Not everybody wants to be testing and doing all of that, but I encourage it. If we have people who did people who fast all the time and people who did this challenge who are like, I just don't know that I felt enough. So sometimes seeing the numbers is good because that consistently is going to add up. It has to. It's the same way that it works the other way. People gain a pound a year, or some people gain more than a pound a year. It happens. The same thing will happen the other way. It may not be as fast as you think it should be. So if you want to know, then you check your numbers. It's in there. And then if you're checking your numbers and then it's like something's not feeling right, then you know, okay, I may need to do some extra stuff. I may need to look at my hormones. I may need to see if I have, greater detox issues. If you have an autoimmune condition, all these things are taxing on your system. So it's not just 1 + 1 = 2. And so, we wish it was like that, but it's not. And for the most people, it is. They start fasting. You feel good. I felt really good. I pulled off a lot of weight. It was that easy. I wasn't like, and then my husband got me a monitor because he overheard me saying it. I probably would still be here today talking about, I should get me a monitor. But he got it. And I'm glad that he did. And I started using it. I'm like, ooh. And I have some news. I didn't even tell you this, Jess.
Okay.
This is pretty interesting. I wish you did it with me because I'm going to tell the news by myself. And I kind of feel like, well, I should have had her do it with me. I got my A1C done.
Oh.
That is very, very telling. So you guys know that some of you know that I was fasting. I can fast like nobody's business. I love it. I like the way I feel. Mm-hmm. And it made me feel good. I probably had 1 or 2 times that I'm like, I'm feeling a little off. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I need to figure out something because I wouldn't be able to fast. So it felt like this. That only happened to me a couple times. One was an extended fast. And then I don't remember what the other one was. I know that's when I got folic acid. And so I haven't had that problem since. I was a few months ago. And then the first time was like a year ago that happened. So I do pretty good with fasting. It doesn't, bother me. And I actually like it, like the way I feel. But just being at the mid-time of life and trying to figure out what's going on and being ready for the next phase, because menopause, getting there isn't a smooth ride for a lot of people. And so I just thought I should get some baseline numbers. And part of it, the check was, they check everything. I got my vitamin D check. How about that? Mm-hmm. I bet you could figure that one out. We figured that, just most people are low. So I figured I was. And I was.
Right.
But anyway, so my A1C was.
She is really working up to this. You are not going to tell us. She's like, then I drove up to the doctors and then
I got it. I got it. Because I'm so light. I was just kind of, my A1C was 5.3. Yeah, so pretty good. 5.7 and below, they figure is normal. But optimal, you want optimal, it's 5.2.
Yeah.
Oh, so
one off.
Yep. Yep. off, and I think it's 4.8 to 5.2 or just below 5.2 or whatever. Some people, that shows your average sugar. I had wrote down the numbers, but I totally forgot about this with trying to move and do all of that. I forgot all about it till right now. So anyway, that's another way that a person can know, okay, you're doing well. Now those numbers only go back 3 months, and I think, wow, when I was really on my game, I wonder what was it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that it was where it was, because that just shows me that who knows what it was before.
That's what I was going to say. Imagine if you weren't doing that.
Yeah, like how I was living before, just do and not paying attention to sugar. And some of you are like that because doctors don't have us pay attention to that. No. That's root cause. That's a root cause way of looking at things. Doctors don't do that. So when you're at your medical doctor and they're saying numbers are okay, you can't always believe that. It's okay by their guidelines. They're not lying to you. But wouldn't you want to know where you're at if you're pre-diabetic or you're not at what's optimal, not what is the norm? We see what the norm is all around us. That's not what we want. Most people are sick, and they say all the time, people are walking around with diabetes and they don't know it. Well, why is that? Because y'all wait until their fasting glucose is over 100.
Right.
They should have known back when they were creeping up. You know what? This is creeping up. Not, oh, wow, you got pre-diabetes. And everybody's like, well, where did it come from? It's been coming. So that's the importance of the sustainability of it, and the importance of whatever it is to keep you in the game. If you got to prick your finger and check your numbers, believe me, I'm all for it. I had someone say in the beginning that when I was doing that, and I was just at the beginning, and they were like, you shouldn't do a diet that you have to check your numbers. And I thought, why wouldn't I check it? It's showing that it's working. And why would I wait till I'm a diabetic? But it shows you where our mentality is, that only diabetics have to check that. So that's
Shelly wants to know what is Shelly wants to know what's A1C.
Wow, Shelly, that is when you get your glucose checked and they check your red blood cells, right, Jess? And they see how much sugar is stuck to them. And that tells them what's going on.
Yeah, it's attached to your hemoglobin A1C. So it's every 3 months your red blood cells recycle, and so it tells you how much is attached to the hemoglobin. So yeah, it's a 3 month average basically of your blood sugar.
Yep. I have a video I can put in here. I was going to put it in the Hacks group, where one of the guys I follow, there's a bazillion of them, but one of the guys I follow, I really like this one, and the way he explains it and the way he says you can lower it. It really made me think of, is it Shauna that dropped hers really low? Jess?
Yeah.
It really made me think of her when he was explaining how long it takes. You could be looking on the monitor and you're getting these low numbers, but it's 3 months. So it takes a while to clear all that other out. So what she did was truly remarkable. What she did in 2 months, because that was still including, she had only been doing it a month. I can't remember how long, but it wasn't the whole 3 months, her first test.
Right. No, she went 2 months, and it went from 11 or 10 to 6, something crazy. 11 to, anyway, I just texted my mother-in-law to ask if I could talk about her. She's watching. I'm like, can I talk about you? So she just had her blood work done, and so if she has sugar, she is like, it really affects her. Like if she has sugar, she'll be like she doesn't feel good. And so it's really interesting because that's sign that she's not metabolizing it. There's some type of an imbalance in the way she's metabolizing sugar. Mm-hmm. And so she just got her blood work done, and what was it? I think it was 98, 97 fasting. Mm-hmm. So I was telling her, just like what you said, yes, it's below 100, but it's right there. Right? She's wait. So it's too close. And
how long had you been fasted how long had you been fasted?
Oh yeah, how long were you fasting when you had your blood work done? And she's symptomatic too. So when she does have sugar, she doesn't feel right. Yeah. So that's why I'm really glad she's fasting, and she's been intermittent fasting, and she's been doing once a week, like 40. You said yes. How long? 12-hour fast, 8-hour fast. So you fast 16 hours all the time. So
When she went in and got her blood work, does she know how long she'd been fasted? Obviously look at that, because that tells you something. If you people are, and they're like, oh, you're good. And they're like, yeah, but I ate at 11 o'clock. Well, that's a shorter time. So, okay. Right. But is that from, is that 20 hours? What is that?
5 hours? You were fasting for 35 hours when you got your blood drawn? Because she does do that once a week. So that was your once a week.
And that kind of can go different ways, because it can definitely be like she should have depleted through some more sugar.
But sometimes, you're right. It can bump it up.
And it can also, if you are, I doubt she had exercised before, but that can happen depending on if she had took a walk. I don't know. If it was in the morning, that can happen with people, because I would see that when I would work out. Like, I would fast 3 days, and that second day, so I would fast, not eat Sunday night, and then Tuesday my workout Monday was fine. Tuesday my workout, I was killing it. But then sometimes I could look, I didn't check always, because I knew what was going on, but I could look and I'm like, oh, my sugar, it never was high, because when you're fasting that long, that deep in the game as I was, it would be a little bit more, because I had pulled some sugar out of my muscles.
Right.
Working out. And then the third day, I couldn't work out hard. Felt fine, but I would do like a dance route, something on Beachbody, a dancing or something, or Pilates. I could not like go hard and do a hard hit.
And that's like what she's saying, that it's quite possible she had pulled some sugar from her fat, and she'd taken glucose
from his gluconeogenesis and pulled some sugar from her muscles or whatever, or liver.
But from her fat, from the fat in her liver, not from her muscles. So I was listening to this podcast.
Oh, it's not working out like it could have came from her liver. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, you need sugar from somewhere. So sometimes you will have elevated blood sugar, but still, if it's right that close to 100, I don't like that. So I'm like, okay, we need to really watch the sugar. So that's why she's excited about this week too, because she's like, I need to, like, the carbs, we need to cut those out. Fasting is fine, but cut the carbs out.
Add the extra. That's good. And I love that, because the older we get, the more things we have to deal with. So we just have to be honest about that. And we have to not look at yesterday and just keep going. Like, we have to keep going. We can't be worried about because I would have done a whole bunch of things differently, but I didn't know or didn't care or whatever you want to call it. So I'm glad that she's thinking that way. And anybody on here that's, our age and older, it's awesome, because if we don't do that, then what? Like, this is what we should be doing. We should be figuring it out. And that's all we can do. We can't worry about yesterday. I did have spicy tea hot.
Now, wait a minute. You said you were fasting.
What is spicy tea?
Oh, wait. So you're talking about tea with no sugar or cream, just spicy tea hot?
Yeah, what is that?
No calories. So that should have been fine.
Should have been fine. The thing about it, I don't know what kind of tea it was, but we're also different as far as when our body gets ready for something. Some people can have a little bit of an insulin response. Not anything to throw you out of anything, but you can have, she's fasting and going to get her blood done. So I don't know. Yeah. Was there some fake sugar in there? What was in there?
Yeah. Deanna, yes. Sugar detox is a cup of tea with nothing in it. Okay. So yeah, sugar is just, it's got to go.
Some people end up having to take it all, even the fake, like even stevia. They have to, like, some people have to go bare bones. And the reason why they know that is because they go how they feel. They're not like subscribing to any diet. They have found out that it makes them crave more. It makes them, some of them have found out, one of the bodybuilders, she's actually Miss Nebraska. I think she's going for Miss America now. She has PCOS. And she does low carb. She actually does carnivore, but she did low carb for years. And she had to let go of dairy for that reason. So she's not sensitive to it. It doesn't mess with her stomach. She can eat the best kind, but she won't let go of weight. So that's the kind of stuff that you have to learn about your own body, instead of like, well, I'm doing everything the book says, or everything, if Jessica says this or Felicia said that. Figure out what's going on with your body. And a lot of the things that we say in here, there are tips out there and it's worked for people. You got to figure out what works for you though.
Yeah.
Because you'll be stuck on, like I say, I don't want to be stuck on stupid. I'm like, I'm doing this over and over. Well, wait a minute, this doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that it works for Jess. It doesn't work for me. So we have to do that.
And
How is monk fruit? Same thing, Georgina. All those things. You got to figure out how it is for your body. Nope, it doesn't have calories, but they have tests on both sides. It doesn't do anything. There's people that are doing keto that they actually hate Dr. Fung, hate everything about it because they're like, he's training people wrong and you can eat whatever you want as long as you count calories. And they do keto and they are standing by that. And then there's people that are like, I have to take the chemicals out because toxins affect me, which I tend to believe. And you just need to figure out which one of those toxins it is.
Yeah.
If you're a person that was diabetic and way overweight and high insulin, and you started fasting and you were drinking Diet Coke and everything dropped, good for you. I applaud that. You're probably going to have to move that Coke later, but good for you that you were able to do it with it. So I'm not a hater. Do what works for you, but figure it out and see if you're using monk fruit. People love it, but if you're like everything is about sweet, everything has to be sweet.
Well, and that's another thing that I was listening to today in that podcast was he was talking about, it made me think of you because he was talking about when you do an extended fast that you really need to rest, and that if you exercise when you are doing an extended fast, you are going to pull that from your muscle, and that's not where you want to pull from. But if you rest, you'll pull it from the belly fat. So he's like, when you do an extended fast, not your intermittent fasting, but when you're doing a 7-day fast, and remember, your body was telling you to rest.
Yeah.
It told you to lay down. But he said, it's boring. You have to lay down most of the time. He said, but it'll pull from your belly.
I just did it because I listened to my body.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm not a person who is like a huge workout queen anyway. And so it was like, I need to sit down somewhere. So that's what I did that Wednesday. Every Wednesday when I was doing 3 days every week, that Wednesday was just a slow day, go for a walk. Like I said, do Pilates. And I wanted to always move my body, and I could still do my squats in the shower, but I was not, my head had to go. And my body literally told me that, and I was not going to fight through it. Well, we have people that are like CrossFitters for life, and then they can't, but they aren't losing. Mm-hmm. So you got to let that go. You got to, as we age, you can't do what you did before. These adrenals can only take so much. I mean, we just have to be honest.
Yep. Absolutely. And like with my mother-in-law, she was, like I said, she's symptomatic. So when she has sugar, she feels, what did you say, lightheaded, and really hyper, and then she'll be like lightheaded and like dramatically when right after she has it, and it's not a lot, like everyone else.
It doesn't even take much, huh?
It doesn't. So you listen to your body. That's exactly what you have to do.
Yeah, and because I mean we know that it's bad for us. We love it. They put it in all kinds of food. Andrew Huberman brought up someone. It was maybe one of his colleagues, so maybe someone at Stanford. I haven't seen it, but he brought up something. Someone who wrote about what happened to the food industry. Did you see this, Jess? It was in one of I haven't followed everything in order, so I'm bouncing all around with this stuff. If it comes up, I'll kind of stop on it and listen for a minute. So I don't even know what this one was. It may be the one.
Was it hormone and food or food and mood?
Yeah. Did you see that one? But he talked about someone who explains that, and he said it's not like what do you call it when people say that it's not controversial, like he's just really going through and explaining. So I want to check that out because I love just getting the tidbits information, because we get that it's bad, but sometimes when you hear the background and you're like, oh, it's really bad, like sometimes you have to hear that stuff to really understand. Well, that's because we all know it right when we're going to get we're going to have ice cream and the sugar donut and the whole deal. We know it's bad.
You'll have to I've heard of this guy. His name is Alan. Can you hear me? Alan.
Yeah,
can you hear me?
It's okay.
Alan Goldhammer. Dr. Alan Goldhammer is True North. So he's the one that was saying, when it's an extended fast, you need to rest so you can burn the fat. But he wrote a book called or maybe it was his friend that wrote a book called Pleasure Trap, I think. And anyway, talking about salt, sugar, and fried food or fat, oil, and how it tastes good, but only because we're addicted to it. It's not truly tasty. It's just what we've done. And once we stop, like you've done it, it doesn't. It's too sweet,
and it doesn't taste the same. I don't think you'll ever have that back.
No. So that's so cool though, because it's like we don't have to be like, oh, I really want that cake. After a while, you'll be like, okay, no, that is way too sweet. And it's, you're going to be satisfied with things that are much less sweet. You're going to be satisfied with things that are much less salty. He was just talking about the natural sodium in vegetables and us having to put salt on everything, hot sauce, spicy. That was the other thing, having to put hot sauce on everything.
Really?
Yeah. And he said, we trained ourselves that's how.
Well, you get with hot stuff, you get, a dopamine hit. So, that is, I'm all over that. I don't have to have it on everything, but I do like hot stuff. Christine, is there a way to drain our lymphatic system to help our body adjust better to IF? Why are you thinking that that's the connection? Or are you just thinking just because of detoxification? Or why are you thinking that would help it? It maybe would, but I'm just wondering what's the connection there. I think working your way up, I kind of just say that to everyone that work, and just you can say what you think, but you don't have to do it like, oh, I'm gonna start out with 16 hours, start out with 12. Do that for a while and do it until you are like, I do not eat between 12 hours, and then move to 13, and then move to 14. Because your body, it's a chemistry set, so your body has to learn. People's bodies, it's like when my nephew had a was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic. Of course, they didn't know that when they didn't know, and so his sugars were high. They had to train his body to bring him down.
Oh yeah.
So they had to literally train his body and teach my sister, like, okay, he's a little high now, but he's been high for however long it was before they figured out what is going on with our kid here.
Right.
And it was, who knows? I don't know how long that is in the making when those what are those beta cells and all that stuff happens. I don't know how long it is, but it didn't happen overnight. He didn't just one day, boom, I forgot what his sugars were. They weren't like crazy for some people, but he was type 1 diabetic. And so it was out of control, and bringing it down and so it's the same way, a different thing, because we're not talking about type 1 diabetes, but your body has to know what to do with the ketones that you're providing it, and know how to move with less sugar in the blood.
Yeah. And if you're swollen because you're fasting and you're pulling toxins out, and you just need to drain, dry brushing, drinking more fluids. I know it might be counterintuitive if you have swelling, but drink more water, dry brush, body massage yourself in the direction of your lymph drainage, the way that it's supposed to go. Because she said, is there a way to drain? I don't know. I hope that's helpful. Somebody else was asking about.
Christine, I would be supporting I would be supporting my digestion, supporting my liver.
Yes.
I don't know if she uses citrus oils. I would be building that glutathione. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting out of bounds here, but I would be doing all the things that we know to do to support your body, and things should get better. And there's always outliers. Maybe there's people that I absolutely should not be fasting. But until I know that about myself, I'm gonna be doing it.
Yeah, but that's a good thing to remember. Like when you're fasting, if you haven't fasted, and especially if you start extending it, but I talked about this earlier today in the group, is to bump up your detox game, because you are going to be detoxing more, and you're going to have more toxins floating around, and that might make you
smart. What you eat, what are you putting in? Things may be more, a lot of people, coffee is their go-to while they're fasting. Maybe it isn't for you. Maybe it hits you different. I remember before I knew anything about fasting, I couldn't figure out why sometimes I could drink coffee and I would be a mess, and other times I wouldn't. I still haven't figured that out, because my life is totally different now in the way I do things, and that doesn't really happen to me. But I used to be like that, and it was probably something I was doing, the way I was eating, or how high my sugar was. But I was just living life. I didn't know anything about any of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Christine, I agree with that. Just bump up what you're doing. All the things that we know to do, keep doing those things. And it's A to Z, and we people are at different levels because they started longer or this thing was easy. I did a wellness consult with someone today, and I said, where are you? You rate yourself on where are you with reducing toxic load? And she gave herself a 3. And so, oh, okay, so that's an area we're going to look at. Well, when I talked to her, she doesn't clean with any harmful products. She uses all natural. I was like, what's this 3 about? Did we get mixed up? Did you think one was better? Or you know what I mean? And she was like, well, I've never detoxed. I was like, no, you're higher than it's not based off. I said, that's a good thing. I said, but you've had your toxic load, you've reduced your toxic load alone just by doing that. And her eating was good. She needed to exercise. And she gave herself a 3. And I was like, boy, it's good to talk to people because that is not a 3.
Yeah. Okay, so Ma is asking about advice on supplements to take when fasting, specifically hair loss after intermittent fasting for 7 weeks. So I'm not sure what's going on there, because, and I don't know what supplements you're taking. I don't know if we've met, so I don't know what all you're doing, but let us know what you're already doing, because you do want to supplement your nutrition all the time, but fasting specifically is going to help with so much turnover in your body and help you recycle, renew, and rejuvenate that it shouldn't specifically be causing hair loss unless there's something else going on. Now, if you were 7 weeks without eating, that's different. But you said you've been doing intermittent fasting for 7 weeks. So I personally make sure that I am taking a broad, high quality nutritional supplement.
Mm-hmm. And that you're eating enough. Some people will start doing a diet. They'll start doing a regular traditional diet, and they're fasting that.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's people that will fast, and then within the feast window or eating window, they try to reduce their calories, and now you're starving yourself. The whole point of fasting.
That's not what you do. And even with extending fasting, it's a whole different thing. You're taking your insulin baseline. That's it's not this in between stuff. And and the thing too about any diet change, big change like that, anybody can have hair loss. So that can happen with people just from the shift and your body figuring it out. And then also hormones play a role. Like you can get real hairy with this stuff and trying to figure out different things. And that's where,
no pun intended, real hairy.
Yeah. No pun intended. Yeah.
Who wants to get hairy?
And that's where people, I tell them, if you've been doing this a while and things just aren't right, then that's when you got to look at, okay, maybe I need to look at a practitioner that specializes in this so they can look at all the things, because you can go down a rabbit hole that I would not be wanting to go down when can I just fast and get myself figured out a little bit? This is just an easy thing that I can do. And I didn't have, a lot of issues, so I was okay with that. But if someone does, you need to make that decision. If you're like, I'm going to keep going, it's a big change that can cause hair loss. A lot of people, traditional diets, lose 60 pounds and their hair comes out. It's a change for the body. So that can happen.
It's true. It's interesting. It'd be interesting to know, Ma, how much weight you've lost.
Yeah.
Oh, she just said I lost 30 pounds, and she takes LLV. So that could be enough of a shift. You're right for her body to be like, what are we doing? So now you need to do cold showers and put some cold water on that head.
Yes, and keep watch. Pay attention to your body.
Yeah, definitely. There's all kinds of things. Christine said she uses wheatgrass, spirulina, and different mushrooms, and avoiding
moringa and reishi. And she's having trouble. Christine, you're having trouble fasting. What happens when you do? And if you don't mind saying your age, if you don't mind, and I'll just say what I want to say about it. When it comes to, like I said earlier, with us aging and our adrenals you're 20, you're 30, you're 40, you are doing all the things. You know how we moms are. We do all the things. it changes as you get older, and that is just a part of life. It changes, your estrogen starts to fall, and then as people get into, as perimenopause is over and they're in menopause, that's where you stay. This whole postmenopause thing is a bit interesting because we stay there. It can be a wonderful time. Look at Jessica's mother-in-law. It's a wonderful time for her, and it can be, but you need to be prepared. You can't just go through like, okay, I'm bad. I'm bad. What was that? I said Gene Simmons and
It kind of does do that though.
I'm bad. I'm bad. No, you have to shore yourself up because our body has been through more. It just has. So that makes a difference, Ma. I don't know. You might be 22. I don't know. But I'm just saying, even if you are, then be prepared for later because we're just taught like, oh, it's the end, it's doom and gloom. And I tease about being in midlife, but there are real things that we need to pay attention to as we get to that. Or things do happen fast. People are like, wrinkles popped out of nowhere. Why am I so wrinkled? Estrogen drops. That estrogen does a lot of nice things for us. Mm-hmm. Estrogen dominance, we don't want that, but estrogen, it does a lot of nice things for us. And when it drops, all kinds of things can happen. Your heart health, the brain fog, you're reaching for a word, you can't remember it. The hair gets thin, all these different things that can happen in old age. Well, now that we know that, we can do something about it. So that also means that fasting you could have a harder time with it. Yeah. But you can shore yourself up for that. But now you're at least aware, okay, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Do the cold showers as cold as the water can be in the tropics. So I think she's saying she does that, or is she asking that? I think she's
yeah, do the cold showers, and then maybe she's saying I do the cold showers as cold as she can. Yeah, it's probably hard. And where did she say she was in Bermuda? We're not going to feel sorry for you because you live in Bermuda. So,
Aruba. Yeah.
Aruba. So no matter what you say, we're jealous of you.
Yeah.
Okay. And yes, do cold shower on your head. Quinn Esther says, my mother-in-law says yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, we've been on here for a while, so we could just start talking about everything under the sun. Everything under the sun. Fulvic acid per day, Kathy, is whatever how you feel. You can titrate it. I usually take it once or twice. It just depends on how energetic and stimulated I want to be. And how I'm kind of feeling. If I'm fasting for a longer period of time, I'll use a little more. It's definitely one of those things. Yeah, once a day is fine.
And the reason why I do that is because I never can get around to 2, and then I don't want to do it at night. It'll probably be okay, but I'm already wired enough.
No, you got to be careful at night. Georgina said, get a tub of ice water. Georgina's trying to torture Mom. She said. 57. Okay, you were doing well on it. Oh, okay.
Oh, so was she asking for someone else about detoxification? I thought she was saying that she needed to detox more to do it, but she was doing well on it.
Maybe she's just saying when she's doing it, she wants to make sure she's detoxing while she's doing it. We're just trying to read your guys' mind. That's what we're doing. Georgina's got ice water ready to pour on people's heads. Okay.
Too funny.
All right, you guys. Okay, so sorry to cut it off in the middle, but we've been on longer. I gotta respect Felicia's time to get her out of here.
Oh, wow. Was that time?
I know. Sorry.
It was like we just got on. Oh wow.
We love you guys, and thank you so much for being interested. I forget to sometimes say thank you for being interested in our topics, like in science. Thank you for being interested in fasting. Thank you for liking to hear about this stuff because we like to talk about it. So we're glad.
I feel the same way. I'm glad you said that. I don't say thank you enough. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're both awesome.
Glad to have you. We love to share. We love to learn. We love to share. So.
Yep. Absolutely. And we'll be back next week to share again. So we'll see you guys then. Bye.